All right, I'm going to show you how to do the next few examples from your notes. They are all about square roots. So basically, square roots are the opposite of squares. It's the opposite of multiplying a number by itself. It basically undoes a number that has been squared. So to find the square root of 9, you have to ask yourself what number times itself is equal to 9. 3 is the only thing that would be true for. The best way to do that is honestly just to know your perfect squares. So you need to know that 1 squared is 1, and 2 squared is 4, and 3 squared is 9, probably all the way up to 15, just like you learned your multiplication facts. That's way 1. Way 2 is to just use the radical button on your calculator. The radical button is the one that looks like that. I will have an extra video of me showing all of the different types of calculators I remember that you can refer to figure out how to use those. The main thing about square roots is that there cannot be a negative inside this little radical because it won't give you a real number. So anytime you see a negative inside of a radical, it's not a real number. So if you look at example D, yes, this is a fraction, but if you know your perfect squares, you would know that 9 and 16 are both perfect squares. I also listed out all the square roots down here. So basically what you do is you split it up into 2 problems. You split it up into the numerator and the denominator. You can put that in your calculator by doing the radical sign and then the 9 to get 3 over 4. Or if you look down at my list here, I have the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 16 is 4. And that's how you get that simplified. Okay, the next one, we have a negative outside of the radical. That's totally fine. It just means the negative version of what number times itself gives you 49. So I know that the number times itself that gives me 49 is 7, and we are taking the opposite of that. So it's negative 7. If we look over here, this says plus or minus the square root of 0.81. That means they want both numbers that when you multiply by itself gives you 0.81. So this one you may want to use your calculator for, or you would see that 0.81 kind of looks like 81, and you could guess that it's 0.9, 0.09. So if you have a calculator that does this, you would press your radical button, and you get 0.9. So basically what that plus or minus sign means is that you get 0.9 and negative 0.9. They want you to specify both, and they're telling you that by this plus or minus sign out in front. So basically that means 0.9 times 0.9 gives me 0.81, and negative 0.9 times negative 0.9 gives me positive 0.81 as well. When you see that negative sign inside of the radical, that means it is not a real number. And you will learn more about that in 8th grade. All right, that is it for those examples.